Hello everyone, welcome back to Code This Sub channel. This is a crash course of ReactJS, and in this ReactJS tutorial we will explain all the topics of ReactJS from start to the advanced topics, okay, from the starting of ReactJS until the advanced topics of ReactJS. And finally at the last we will create a project. We will perform a CRUD operation with the REST API. So I hope, yeah, this will be definitely, this video will be very helpful for you if you would like to learn ReactJS. So first of all, we will just go step by step to explain all the topics. Then at the last we will cover all those topics in a project, okay, that we will create and we will build. I hope this video will be very helpful for you. Watch the video until the end. So enjoy. I hope this will be helpful for you. So let's get started. Hi everyone. First of all, we will come to what is ReactJS. ReactJS is a JavaScript library which is used for building user interfaces. It is a front-end library. We just create our front-end designs using ReactJS. And ReactJS is developed by Facebook or Meta company. And the ReactJS is a very popular and undemanded library or framework of JavaScript. Nowadays, if you look at other frameworks of JavaScript like Angular and Vue and others competitors of React is so much popular than them, and it has too much rich features than them. Okay, if you look at the overview of ranking of Google and Stack Overflow, so you will see that React is on the top of them. That's why it has a rich features, and it is very easy to write the code for the developers, so the developer write and use ReactJS. And how does React work? React actually create virtual DOM in memory. In simple words, what is virtual DOM? It means that instead of manipulating or updating the browser DOM, it means that whenever you would like to write something in the browser, so instead of displaying that directly on the browser DOM, what it do, it first of all create a virtual DOM in the memory. Okay, DOM means document object model. It created in the memory. Whenever you make some manipulations on that DOM, it means that add something, update something, or do something else. So it first of all update it in the virtual DOM, then it update just that part which was updated, which was added. It update just that component in browser DOM. Okay, so it changes just that part, that component which change has occurred in that part. It is the success story of ReactJS that it is so fast. Okay, instead of directly updating the browser DOM, so the virtual DOM, using virtual DOM, it is so fast than real DOM. So now first of all we will create our React app, then we will explain all the features of ReactJS one by one, and also we will create at the last a project. So let's get started to create a React app. For creating a React app, we have different ways. One is to create React app, use the create React app command, and the second way is to create React app manually, and the third way is to use wait.js. Okay, so I will use wait.js, okay, to create React app because it is fast, it's too much fast than create React app or creating manually. So before that, the prerequisites for that are to create a React app, you should install Node.js on your machine. Okay, sorry, let's Node.js download. Let's move to the download section. So you can download it for the Windows, for the Mac and other. Okay, so just download it and install it. After installing that, you should install an editor. We will use VS Code editor. Okay, install the VS Code editor also. So after installing VS Code editor, you can download it also for the Windows, Mac and other OS. Then come here to the VS Code. Okay, I have already installed. After opening the VS Code, let's close all these things. First of all, we will check the version of our Node.js. Whenever you install Node.js, and you will see Node -v. Okay, this is the version of Node.js, version 18, and also npm. Whenever you install Node, npm will automatically install. npm version. So 9.5 is the npm version. Now let's move and create a new folder. Just come here to this PC and to the React. Here I will create a new folder by the name of React tutorial. So now let's move to the VS Code, and here at the top you will see file menu and then open folder. We will move to the React folder and React tutorial. We will come here to the React tutorial, this one, and open it. After opening it, let's move to the terminal again. So in the terminal, we will, to create our React app, we will use npm create with. Okay, write these commands, we can create our React app. Sorry, I wrote I misspelled. Create, now assign a project name, that is React tutorial. So then select your framework. We will select React, then select the variant of JavaScript, TypeScript, or JavaScript. We will select just the JavaScript, and everything is done. It says now move to this directory, this folder, then write npm install, then run this command to run your server. So now let's move cd React tutorial, then let's write npm install. It will install all the packages and dependencies in our React app. Yeah, this has installed. So now let's write npm run dev, so it will run our React app. See, this URL has generated. So now let's press Ctrl button and press this URL. So after that it has opened for us. See, this is our default React app which we have created right now. Now let's explore the files and folder inside our React app. Okay, this is our React app. Inside this we have node modules folder. This directory contains all the npm packages required for our project. Okay, whatever we would like to install, and the npm related, which are the packages, all are existed inside this. For example, we want to install Bootstrap and React Rotterdam and something else, all would be existed here, all packages and dependencies. In the public, this directory contains static assets that are not processed by wait. Okay, we used wait. Here we just include our static assets, for example like images we would like to add here in public directory. And the src is our main folder where we implement our logic, where we write our code. Inside this src we have this main.jsx, which is the entry point of our React app. Okay, our React app will start from this file, and these other, here we will add other components where we will implement our logic. And .git ignore, here we will just include those files and directories which we want to ignore by git. Index.html, it is the HTML file which will be rendered, and inside this HTML file we have just this div. All our code would be existed inside this div, and we have imported our main.jsx here in this HTML file. And package.json, in this folder all our information about our React app will be existed here, like name, private or public, version, type, and scripts, and dependencies, which dependencies we want, all those things. Okay, whatever we want to use, all information are existed in this file package.json. And this is the wit.config.js. this is the configuration file for wit. So it was all about the file and folder structure that are existed in our React app. Before moving ahead, I will recommend you a video which I have created a few days ago, that is about which concepts of JavaScript I should know about before learning ReactJS. Okay, watch that video, which will be very helpful for you. You have a link in the description, and also on the top you can see the link. So watch that video, which will be very helpful for you. So now let's get started. Okay, we will start our coding. Let's close this terminal. After closing the terminal, close this file also. We will come here. Okay, see, let's come here now. This is the default React app. Okay, see these two images, React and width, and also this text and the counter up. See, by pressing the button it is increasing. So now let's check it, where is this code existed. Let's come here to our main.jsx is our entry point, and here we imported this app. Let's move to app.jsx. In app.jsx we have all that code that we saw on the browser. See, these two images and text and a counter up, all that code is existed inside it app.jsx. Let's close also this side. Okay, Control B. You see this code. Okay, you might be thinking this is just HTML code. Okay, how we have written it inside the .jsx file or JS file. So this is HTML code, but this is not HTML code. Okay, this is JSX. So now you might be thinking, what is JSX? Okay, the JSX stands for JavaScript XML. Okay, it allows us to write HTML inside a React. Okay, HTML elements tags inside React, and it made it easier to write and add HTML inside React.js. By using this JSX, we don't need those JavaScript methods like create element and append child and others method. Okay, we are simply writing HTML tags which are converted to the React element. Just the difference, it is similar to HTML, just the difference is that instead of class we are writing class name. Okay, because the class is a reserved class inside React, so we are using class name instead of class. And also we are using curly braces when we write to render a JavaScript expression. For example, let's just render something like here. Okay, here I will write 2 plus 2. Okay, let's save it, and now let's check it. Okay, let's come here to the browser. See, that became 4. Okay, the JSX, that became 4. We can change that also. Let's make some equal sign before and after that. See, that has became 4. So you can write the JavaScript expression inside these curly braces. And also just the difference else is that we cannot write the if else statement. Okay, inside this JSX we will write if else outside of this JSX, and instead of that we have ternary operators that later we will explain these all steps. But for now, just learn that this is JSX code. Okay, the difference is that we are writing class name and we are using curly braces for JavaScript expression. And one thing else, that whenever you want to pause something, that is just the HTML attributes. Okay, these simple attributes. Okay, nothing is different, everything is okay with HTML. Now let's remove all this unnecessary code. Okay, this code and also this code, we will remove all these codes. We will create new components. Let's remove this also, we don't need this. So remove these things, and also app.css, because right now we don't need that. Just come here and to the assets, React logo, I will delete that, and come to the app.jsx, app.css, I will delete all this code, and also index.css, I will delete all the code, main.jsx, and yeah, we deleted everything. So now let's check it. On the screen there is nothing right now. So now let's move. So now we will move to the components. Okay, you see, this is just a simple function. See, this is just a simple function, but it do the same task as this general you learned about the function in the JavaScript. It is just that function, but the isolation is that it returns HTML. Okay, this function returns HTML. And now we will define the components. We have two types of component in React.js. One is function based component and the second one is class based component. Don't worry, first of all let's move to the class based component. The structure of the class based component, you see that a class, the name of the component, after that extends component, and then render whatever you would like to display on the browser, so render that. Okay, so this is that, you see that this is the class based component. But if you are wondered that about the classes and the extends keyword, how to use it and what is it. So don't worry, okay, because we are not using the class component anymore in React.js. We are focusing on function component because these are simple and easily to write in list code. Okay, the class component doesn't use anymore, and no one use it. Okay, right now if you look at to the world and to the developer, they are just writing their code using function component. So let's check the syntax of function component. As you see that the function keyword in the name, and after that the return statement. Okay, whatever you want to, you can return that. Also we have the function component, we can write in different ways like normal function, arrow function, you see. Okay, the different types, but this is that you see the arrow function that you which is on the screen. Okay, now let's come here to our editor. Okay, see, this is a general, okay, a normal function that we you see that this is op component, okay, which we have. Now let's return something. Okay, let's write div element, and inside that we will return h1 tag. Hello everyone. Like this. Okay, let's save it. Our React app is running because we already run that. Okay, let's move to the terminal and check it. Yeah, that is running. And let's move to the see. Hello everyone, we return just this HTML and we displayed it. Okay, we wrote everything inside our app component, then we imported this app component inside our main.jsx. See, and this main.jsx will render everything to this route. Okay, document.get element by id root, and it will render everything there. So this HTML file. So now let's create a new component. Okay, to create a new component, so for that let's come here and click this. We will create a new component that is by the name of car.jsx. Whenever you are creating a new component, the name must be capital. Okay, the starting name. And to create a new component, there is a shortcut to create a component easily. For that I will write first of all that RAFCE C React functional component, React arrow functional export component. See, that has generated everything. It is why I have installed an extension. I will show you that extension. Install this extension, that is very essential. Come here to this tab, and here just write search React. Okay, after searching React, this first one, okay, you see this first one, ESX React Redux React Native, okay, snippets. So just install this one. This has this much users, 9 million I think, and install it. It is very essential, important, and it will just help you to write code faster. So this is the component that we have created right now. Okay, first of all we imported React, and we don't need, if you don't import it, it is not essential. Okay, right now in this functional components, and this is an arrow function that we have created, const car name a variable, and then this is arrow function that we have created, and we return just car. Okay, and we have export. Okay, whenever you would like to, for example, export, okay, to use this component inside another component, for example, I want to use this car component inside this app. Okay, let's move to the app.jsx. Inside this app, okay, to call one component inside another component, so first of all we should export this component. Okay, to export it, we have named we can use export keyword, and then you have two choices. Okay, would you like to write this default or not? If you remove this default, okay, save it, export car. Let's write like here, export const car. Okay, save it. We have exported this car company now. So to import it inside app.jsx, here we have two choices. Okay, let's first of all import. If I write car from /car.jsx, okay, it is an error with us because that is a named export. Okay, that is a named, we should write the name of this component. If we write just export, then we should write the name of this component there, okay, inside the curly braces like this. Okay, if we run it right now, so I think we will face with an error. So let's check it. Let's use it. Okay, let's use it. So to use it, a component, we will just write a simple HTML code. Okay, open the tag and then write the name of component and then close it back. Let's close it, and now let's check it. Let's refresh it. See, we faced with an error. So let's check the error. See, uncaught syntax error. The request module car.jsx does not provide an export named. Okay, in export name it is, we didn't provide the default. If we don't provide the default, it means that we should then, this is a named export with us. Okay, without default, if we use that as a named default, named export with us. So to use this named export inside this app.jsx, so we will simply write like this. Okay, inside curly braces, like this. Save it. Now let's check it. Let's refresh the page. See, everything has came. See the car. Okay, that has printed. This was named export. So now let's use default export. Just come here, export default. Let's write it down. Then we should remove this const. Save it. And let's remove this curly braces from default export. Save it. And we use that. Let's check it. See, let's refresh it. Oh, sorry, we faced with an error. So let's just car him, and we will just let's copy this. For the default export, we should write like this, and here we will just add a const. Save it, and now let's check it. Refresh the page. See, everything is okay. So this was named and default export that we have used, and also to use one component inside another component. Now, for example, let's move to the props concept. If I want to pass something from this app.jsx to this car.jsx to this component, okay, I want to pass something from app to car component. So to pass that, for that we use props. Okay, props are just like the function arguments that we are using. Okay, to pass something to a function, that is, they are same to that concept. Okay, like the argument of a function. So let's, for example, pass now something to this car component. Here, whenever you want to pass something, you should write them just like the HTML attribute. Just want to pass the model, for example, is equal to 2021. This is a model, okay, of our car. So let's now catch it inside car component. So here inside this parenthesis, we will write props. So after writing props, now we will print the model. Okay, so print that we will use, as we discussed, these curly braces for JavaScript expression, and here we will write props dot what was the name that we passed? Name was model dot model. Now let's check it. Okay, let's save it, and let's move to the browser. See, car 2021, we printed that. Okay, if you want to pass a variable, for example, that is not a string video. Okay, now, right now we passed a string, but if that is a variable, so let's create a variable. Const model is equal to like 2021. We want to pass this variable. Okay, to pass, just simply write instead of this, use curly braces and pass the name of the variable. Save it, and let's move to our app. See, everything is okay. And also, if you want to pass an object, okay, so let's create an object. Car info is equal to create an object model 2021, or it is not a string, it is just a variable. I should write like it is integer. Okay, and also the name, for example, Ferrari or whatever is that. Okay, let's save it, and let's pass now the object, that is car info. Now let's move to our car, and also let's change it, it is car info like. And here how we should write, we should write props dot car info dot name, and also we can print the model props dot car info dot model. Now let's move to the browser. See, car Ferrari 2021 that we have printed. So it was all about how to pass data from one component to another component. It was all about props, and the easiest way to distract the props. Okay, to distract the props, it means just destructuring the props here instead of writing the props. So that is the easiest way that I will show you. We can write like this. Okay, For example, you want to pass a variable, we will simply write like model is equal to car info dot model, and also a name. Let's write this is equal to, here we will pass car info dot name. Let's save it, and now let's distract it. Here instead of props we will write curly braces. Sorry, inside curly braces we will just write the name of the model and the name. And now instead of writing this, just write, here we will print the name and here we will print the model. Let's save it, and now let's check it. See, we have the same thing. Refresh it, we have the same thing. So this was all about passing the props and destructuring them. Oh, we destructured the props that we have passed. If you want to call this car component again and again, so for that simply just call this like here. Okay, write it again, shift alt and a down arrow, it will copy that. We call the call component 4 times. Okay, it will print the car component data 4 times to us now. So let's check it now. I think we didn't save that. Let's save it and let's check it. See, 4 times we printed the data. Just create other objects like this and change the name of the model of them and pass them like this. Okay, let's create another object, so we can name it a different and pass them like this. Okay, you can print other cars data also, it is the same. So now for example we have 4, 5, 6 and 10 cars, so we should call them like this. Okay, 10 times the car component, so that is not a good practice. Okay, to write the code. So for that reason we would like to create a list. We would like to create an array of cars, and we will use a map function to render the list. It means that the topic that we are discussing right now and we are clarifying, that is rendering list in ReactJS. Okay, to render a list, first of all we will create an array. You can simply create an array like this. Okay, const for example array is equal to, this is the array notation, the brackets, after that write whatever you are writing in that. Okay, like this. Okay, this is simply numbers array that we have created. Okay, we can simply render it, but we would like to create an array of objects. Okay, simple array is like this. For the numbers or for the string, like you can write use of array Jamil, whatever is that. Okay, array is just combination of same type data types. Okay, that you have consecutive types of data, but we would like to create now an array of objects. So let's create an array of objects of cars. So first of all we will wrap it inside these brackets. So after that we will add in a comma. Okay, let's just make it down, and here I will add another object. Okay, we have one object. Okay, one object that is Ferrari. Let's create another object, model. For example, model is 2023 and name Honda Civic. Okay, like let's create another model 2023 name Grandy. We have these 3 objects. Okay, this is a list of objects. It means array of objects, and we have in this array we have 3 objects. Inside every object we have these properties, model and name. So now let's display it. Or to render a list in ReactJS we will use map function for that. Okay, so now let's, instead of writing like this, let's remove all this. Let's first of all I will use map function, and also I will remove this, or I will write here rendering list in React. Now let's write here when you are rendering a list we will use these curly braces, and inside that we will use the name of this object. Okay, array car info. Sorry, but I wrote Control Z. I will write that here car info, after the dot map function, and inside this map function what we will define, a callback function. Okay, so let's create a callback function. This we will create an arrow function, and inside this arrow function now we will return what we want. Okay, so it will now in this callback function we will pass a parameter, so that is means we will get a car. Okay, whenever we call this map function, what it will do I will explain. Okay, this is a car, this is the name of the array. Okay, and we use map function on that array. What it will do, it will take every object. Okay, first of all this object, it will assign it to this car, then we will use that inside these curly braces. After that it will go again and it will take this object, then this object. Okay, step by step. So now we will pass this object to car. Okay, to car component. So let's do it. We will call now this call. Let's car return, or we will simply call. Okay, we'll just write return. If you wrote these curly braces, then you should write return statement. If you wrote this parenthesis, so then you don't need to write return statement. Let's remove it. Okay, we will write like this, and we will pass now first of all model is equal to, the model is car dot model, and also we will pass the name is equal to car dot name. Close it. Now let's remove these. Okay, we don't need to write like this. Save it, and now let's move to the browser. Let's come here. See, we have these three objects right now. Okay, list of rendering list in React, and we have these three cars. So it was all about rendering a list inside a ReactJS. For rendering a list of array, we are using map function like this. Okay, if that is a simple numbers, for example, let's create another array is equal to, that is an array of numbers 4 and 5. Okay, save it, and now let's render that. Okay, down from that I will render that. Let's copy this code and paste it here. After that we will use array, name of the array, then map, and here we will just get a number. Now we will, instead of this, I will use p tag. I will print the number, simply number. Let's now check it. See, I have printed the numbers like this. Okay, this was all about rendering a list in ReactJS. So now let's move to another topic, which is conditional rendering in ReactJS. So for that, let's first of all I will remove this code, and also remove this code. Conditional rendering, it means that we would like to render the content based on the condition. Okay, we can use if, else, and end function, and also ternary operator in ReactJS. I will write example for every one of them. First of all, let's create a variable const is logged in is equal to, okay, what we would like to assign, let's assign true. So now here first of all we will learn the if else in ReactJS. Okay, to use if else we cannot use if else inside JSX code. Okay, whatever we are writing here we cannot use that inside. For example, you are writing if here, so that is not applicable to use if here. Okay, so if you would like to use if, you should use that outside from JSX code. Okay, so let's, for example, here I would like to write if is login. If a user was logged in, so then just return h1 login. Else, here we will write else. We will wrap it inside these curly braces, and here we will write not login. Let's save it, and let's now check it. Okay, see, we are logged in. Okay, and if we come here to the make it false, save it, and let's check it now. See, not login. But the second type, okay, this was if else. If you would like to use just the end operator, so for that let's remove this code. let's use now the end operator. So for that we are using is login end. We are using just this one sign. Okay, close it. If this condition was true, so it will render this, it will execute this code. If this was false, so it will not execute this code. Now let's check it. Okay, let's save it, check it, check login, save it, and let's check it now. See, right now we don't see anything on the browser because the condition is false. So let's make it true, save it, and let's check it now. See, we printed the text. So this was the end sign. But the most usable, which are the ternary operator, which we will use often in React.js. So now we will use that. Okay, so for that we are writing first of all the condition. After that we are using question mark. If this condition was true, so then it will execute this code. Okay, let's write login. If the condition was false, so then we will execute this code, not login. Yeah, the most usable it is a ternary operator that we are using in React.js. Okay, remember this, we will use this in our future project. Let's save it now. See, login, it means that the condition is true. If we make it false, see, the not login. So this was all about conditional rendering in React.js. So in this part we will just handle forum handling, event handling, and also the useState hook, and also the hooks. We will handle all these topics in this part. So let's clear this. So first of all I will create, let's come here to the forum handling. Okay, I will create a forum. So to create a forum, simply same like the HTML we are creating the forum. Let's remove this action. And inside the forum we would like to create label, and label this is for name, and inside it we will create our input field, that is tag text, and name is equal to with name. And also let's create one another, let's add a br tag. Let's create one another label, this is for like email, we can say input email, name email. And also let's create one button for submitting. Okay, button submit button. Okay, that has added. Let's save it. Now let's move to the browser, how it looks like. Yeah, it looks like this right now. This is our forum which we have created. So now let's add some CSS code, okay, to style it. Okay, let's add the CSS code. So to add the CSS design, we can add the CSS also inline in these elements tags. Okay, and also you can add here outer from the JSX, and also you can create a separate file for the CSS. So first of all we will add inline CSS, but before that let's write here enter name, and also here enter email. So to add the inline CSS you can simply write like this. Okay, style, then into curly braces, one for the object and one for style, and here we will write the CSS properties we are writing in camel case, like display flex. Now let's check it now. See, display flex. So this is the inline style sheet. We can also write create an object of style, like const style is equal to, let's create an object display flex. You can add another property like separating by commas. Let's assign it now. So to assign it we will just remove this, and we will just write here style. See, it is the same right now. Again, refresh it. So but we will create a separate file to write the CSS code for this forum. So to create a separate file, just come here, and here we will create a file, or I will just enter the CSS code inside this app.css. I wrote this CSS design per button, for input field, and for the forum, and I imported this app.css file in app.jsx file like this. Okay, import then the name of our dot slash mains in the same directory and app.css. And after that I wrote a class name inside this forum and I use that class name, okay, dot forum. So our forum looks like this now. So now let's move to the state, okay, because whenever we are writing something in these input fields, okay, we are writing something in these input fields, what we should do, we should store them somewhere, okay, we should store these values in our variable. So for that we need to use useState hook. Okay, now you will consider that what is hook. First of all I will define you the hook. The hook, what is hook? The hook are the functions to use some React features in functional components. Okay, this is a functional component with us, and the hooks are the functions which use the React features inside these functional components. In other words, we can say that hooks are functions that make functional components work like class component. Before these function components we were using before React hooks, okay, before React hooks we were using class components, but when our hooks came to the ground, now we are using functional component instead of class components. Okay, so now we will move to the useState hook. Okay, don't worry about the hooks, I will explain it later in project also, but if you would like to learn more about the hooks, I have a complete video, 1 hour video about all React hooks, how many hooks we have. You have link for that video in the description. I'll also check on the top the link. Okay, so now let's move to the useState hook. First of all I will create it, then I will explain it to you. Let's create it const to create a hook. Okay, now I will create useState hook. First of all this array notations, okay, these brackets. After that we will write a name. For example, we want to store the name. This is the name of the variable or state. Then set name. This is the method which will be used to update this name, is equal to useState hook. See, that has imported from React. This is hook, okay, that we will call. What the default value is nothing, an empty string. Okay, this is the default value that we have assigned to this name variable. So now I will define you the useState hook. Okay, so the useState hook is a function to add state in functional components. Okay, it adding a state in functional components. Now you will say that what is state? State is nothing but just a variable for the component or the data, the property that we would like to track. Okay, this is just the data. So now let's move to our input fields. We want, whenever we are writing something in this input fields, we want to store that inside input this name variable. Okay, so for that we need event handling. So now we came to the event handling topics. Okay, event handling are the same like in HTML. We have on click, on submit, on change, on mouse over, etc. Okay, so these are event handling that we will perform. Okay, whenever we are performing something and the user action. So now here the user action is to enter, to write something in these input fields. So now we will handle this event. So to handle it, for it we have on change event. We will use on change. Whenever a user is writing something in input field, we will store that data inside this name variable. So let's do it. On change events are camel case. Okay, so here we will call a function, or we can create here an arrow function to assign value to this name variable. We can create a, let's create a separate function for that. Const handle input is equal to, this is an arrow function. So here we will get an event, and here I will call set name method. Okay, set name, I will pass e.target.value. This is the simple form that we can write. What it will do, let's call first of all handle event. Simply we can write the name of that, it will call that. So whenever we write something in input field, so it will call this handle input function. Okay, this function, whenever it call it, what it will do, let's change it to e. So it will pass an event also, and inside the through the event we can first of all I will show you the event. Okay, this event, what is there in the event? Let's console it .log event. I will display all the properties of this event. Now let's move to the browser. So let's move to the console. Here on the console, now we will see the data. Okay, so let's write something inside this. Okay, Okay, the event, whenever we write something it call that function. This is the event that we got. Okay, through the event, that object, we can access these all properties. See, we can access all these properties. So we access the target. Okay, through e.target, we came here target, then we came to the target.value. Whatever we are writing, we are accessing that value. So this was about the event object that I displayed to you. So what we will do whenever we are writing something, we are e.target.value, we are taking that value and storing that inside name variable. The same thing we can do with this input field also, email. So we will call onChange, and here we will call handle. Later in our future project that we are getting in, that I will write it in the short forum, but right now I will write like this. Okay, for your explanation, I will create a function here, but for this time, for this input field, I will write an arrow function here inside this, and I will assign the email value to our variable. Let's create another variable, state variable, which is email, set email, and the default value is empty string. Now I will call this set email not to create a separate function. I will write that inside this onChange. Okay, I will create an arrow function, and I will pass an event to that, and here I will pass set email. I will set the value e.target.value. It is the same, it will do the same task as we did before in this function. So after storing the value, then we have the submit function. Okay, whenever we press the submit button, we should call a submit function. So for that, come here to the forum. Here I will call on submit event. On submit event, I will call handle submit function. So let's create now handle submit function. Const handle submit function is equal to, we will pass an event to this, is equal to. Now here first of all we will write event dot prevent default. What it will do, whenever you are calling the submit, okay, you are calling the submit event, so in that function you should first of all write this statement. Okay, event dot prevent default. It means that it will prevent it from default submission. Whenever you refresh the page, if you don't write this, it will refresh automatically, but by writing this it will prevent that. And here now we will just console the data, console.log name plus, let's write this, then plus, then email. I will print just the data of name and email. Let's save it, and now let's check it. Let's move to the console. On the console, let's write the data. This is my name, and let's write an email. This is an email. Let's press the submit button. See, we got this data, Muhammad Yusuf and Muhammad Yusuf 51@gmail.com. So this was the topic of forum handling. We have created a forum first of all, then we have handled the input, the events, okay, like on submit, on change, and other events like on click. And after that we the third topic, which was use state hook, that we clarified for you. Okay, use state hook. So now we will move to other topics. Okay, these three topics, I hope these are clear, but later in the project you will understand very well on these. We will use them. Okay, so now let's move to another concept, which is use effect hook. Okay, it is also very important to use before we discuss the use state hook, but now we will start discuss the use effect hook. First of all, what is use effect hook? Use effect is used to perform side effects in our components. Okay, to perform side effects. Now what is side effects? Side effects are actions which are performed with the outside world. Okay, those actions which are performed with the outside world. For example, some side effects that we can name it, like fetching data from an API. Whenever you are writing data from an API, so you can use the use effect hook. You are updating the DOM document and window, or you are using the timer functions. So these are some common usage of side effects that we can use. Now let's yeah, it has already imported the useEffect hook. Okay, first of all we should import it from React. After that we will use it. Okay, so to use it we will use here useEffect. After that open it. Then here we have two parameters for this. The first one is callback function and the second one is array dependency. Okay, this is first of all callback and a dependency, array dependency. Okay, so this callback function here we will implement our logic, but the array dependency, what does this mean? So now we will explain it to you. Okay, first of all, this callback function, okay, this means what to run. It means what to run, what code, what logic we would like to execute. But this array dependency mean when to run. Okay, this second option mean when to run. Okay, it specify. This useEffect hook has three variations. Okay, now we will discuss everyone step by step. It has three variation. Now let's first of all we will clear the first variation. Okay, let's create a callback function. The first variation is that we don't write array dependency with it. Okay, we will leave it empty. Just we will write the callback function. Okay, that is optional, so we left that. Okay, so what will happen? This is the first variation. So now let's check it. Here I will just print alert message. Yes, this variation means whenever there is when we render first of all our React app, so it will run. After that, if something happened, if an updation happened, for example we are updating here a value and we are also updating a value here, so whenever an updation happen, so it will render again. It means it will run again. Okay, let's check it now. Let's come here to the browser. See, at the first time it is rendering. Now whenever we write something, it will render again because updation happened, on change event has called. Then we used set name and set email functions. We are updating the values. For example, MC, that has rendered again, rendered again, render. Whenever you are updating something, so it will render again and again. This is the first variation. So now let's move to the second variation. Let's write the second variation is array, empty array. Okay, an empty array. So now let's check it what happened. At the first, this second variation mean it will be rendered at the first whenever you run your application. After that, if changes or updation happen, so it will not render again. So let's check it now. It is the start of our application. Say let's refresh it. See, we saw that refresh. Okay, now let's write something. Update. See, updation happened but nothing, everything is okay because that will render just at the first time. Okay, the third variation is to write here a variable. It means let's write name. Okay, whenever an updation happened on this, it means whenever the value of name updated, so then it will render. Okay, then it will render. It is the third variation. So let's check it now. At the first time, okay, rendered. So let's refresh it. It is the first time. For the first time it has rendered. So now whenever we are updating email, it will not render. But if we are updating name, so it will render. See, it is rendering. So these were three variation of useEffect hook. useEffect is mostly used in when we are pitching the data, and also these were common usage of useEffect, and later we will use in our project it, and you will understand more about this useEffect hook. Now we will move to React Router DOM, okay, which is used for navigation, for routing, to move from one page to another page. So for that, first of all we need to install React Router DOM. Okay, for routing and for navigation from one page to another page, we are using React Router DOM. First we should install it. Let's move, let's create a new terminal, and here we will install that. First of all we should move cd our folder, React project folder, that is React tutorial, cd React tutorial, cd, the spelling React tutorial, that was a spelling mistake. So we move to the our React folder. So now we will install it. npm install React Router DOM. So let's I'm not connected with the internet, so let's create our connection first of all. So now let's press enter. So we will install React Router DOM. See, the package is installed. So now let's delete this terminal and let's close it. So after that, let's first of all import it. So to import it, simply we will import, first of all we will import browser router from router, and routes, and also route from React Router DOM, from React Router DOM. So after importing them, now we will use them. Okay, so let's first of all remove all these things, we don't need them, and also this forum. I will create a few components. And let's delete it, this component, and now I will create home.jsx, about.jsx, and also the header.jsx, these three components which I have created. So first of all I will write the header.jsx, and then let's move to about, and also to the home.jsx. I have created these three components, and I export defaults them. Okay, so now let's use our React Router. So first of all we will wrap all our routes inside this browser router. So let's write browser router, and inside this we will define our routes. Let's define routes, sorry, this is routes, and inside routes we will have our route. Okay, so let's write route. In route we have two properties or two attributes. The first one is the path, okay, where you would like to go. So the first path is /, it is for home, and the element, we will specify element for this, which element you would like to render with this path. The element is, for example, we would like to render home component. So for that let's define home, save it, and let's import home component. Home, the home is imported, import home from /home. Let's define another route in one another. The second one would be about, and the third one is about, that is we have just these three, yeah, we don't have any other one. So now let's move to our header. Okay, up.jsx, we have defined everything. Let's import here the about has imported. Now let's move to our, we defined our routes. Now let's move to our header. Inside the header we would like to create a header. Okay, so just come here and we will create a now. Inside that we will create now bars. Let's create anchor tag, and here we will define home, about. Let's save it, and now let's move it. Right now we are at the home. Let's import them. See, to up.jsx we came to this route. Okay, this default route. Okay, so we will move to the home component. See, we are at the home. If we write here about /about, see, we came to about component, but the header, we would like to display the header on both components, on the top of about and also on the top of home component. But before that we will just create our header. So we have created in our header, let's come here, we have home and about component links, okay, in our header. So let's first of all import header. Just come here and I will create header that has imported. Now let's check it. Let's move now to header, press enter. See, we came to the header in these two links. Okay, let's increase the size. We came to these two links. So now let's change them to the React Router links. Okay, whenever we click on this home, we should move to home component. Whenever we click on this about, we should move to about page, about component. So for that we need to import link, okay, from React Router DOM. Let's import link. See, link has imported link from React Router DOM. After that we will change this a to link, and also we will remove this href tag, and here we will add 2 equal to where we would like to move. We would like to move to this route, to home component. okay. And also the same, let's do it for 2 is equal to, we would like to move to slash about page, about component. Now let's check it, okay, what happened. Just come here, let's press on about home component. See, we came to home. Let's move back to header and let's press about. We came to about, but we would like to display the header on both, on the top of both components, on the top of about and also on the top of home component. So for that, instead of using header here, let's remove this and we will import header on the top of these, okay. Here let's import it here, so it will be on the top of these all routes, okay, this header component. Save it. Now let's move. See, let's move to about. See, we are on the about, home, we came to home, about, but this is on the top. Also you can create a footer here down, whatever you want to write at the footer, so you can create that, okay. Footer, this is footer, about, home. Now let's pass data to this about component, okay. So to pass the data, we will come here, first of all come here to the about, to the header, okay. We want to pass data to the link, okay, to this about. Now we will write something manually, but later in our project we will dynamically pass the data. So now we will just write, for example, we want to pass something like, let's create a variable const name is equal to use of like, okay. Let's pass plus, here I will just write, change this to this quotation, and here, and also wrap it inside curly braces, and here we will define the dollar sign, in the curly braces inside that I will write name. So now name will be passed to about route. Inside app.jsx we should also define slash, then column, for example name, okay. So now let's grab that, just come here to the about.jsx, inside about. Now I will print that, okay. So to print, to take the data from URL, so now we pass this name, okay, from header we pass this name. Whenever we press this about, we will pass this name to about page, okay. So let's grab that name. So for that we will use forum hook from React.DOM, like this, const name is equal to use forum. So that this hook will help us to just take data from URL, okay. So now it will take name from URL and we will print that here, name. Let's save it, and now let's move. Let's move to the about. See, user pass passed here, you can change it also. See, it has Kalim right now. So this is all about that we has passed data through URL. And one last thing about the React.DOM is that whenever you want to navigate from this page to home, okay, directly, whenever you press a button, for example, or you perform something, you want to automatically move to the home page. So for that we will use navigate hook. So let's do it. For example, let's create a button. So I should create that inside this div, a button, and here click, and let's perform on click event on click. Whenever we perform on click, I will create an anonymous function, and inside it I will just use navigate hook, okay. So let's first of all import use navigate hook. After that we will create an instance of this, const navigate is equal to use navigate. So it is very important, okay. Later we will use in our project how much important it is. Now let's use navigate hook, navigate, and we will move to home route. To which route you would like to move, so just write the path, the URL of that route of that. Now we would like to move from about to home page. Whenever we press this button, let's check it, we are on about. Let's press this click button, click, but it didn't move from about. So let's check it, okay. So that is a spelling mistake. Let's navigate, Let's save it again. I think let's copy this name. That is spelling mistake. Okay, don't worry. Let's check it now. Let's press this button. See, we came directly to the home page. So it was all about React Autodom. So later in project we will explore it more and more. So now let's move, and I think we will move to the project, okay, to create our project, and we will perform all CRUD operations. So you will learn a lot of things. I believe that you will be able to create ReactJS intermediate level applications if you follow this project. So let's get started. Okay, the project. So it is the last part of our React tutorial where we will create our React app. So now let's get started. Okay, to create our CRUD operation or CRUD app, to display the records and create a new record, and also update a record, and also add the images. So we will do all these operations in this project. So let's get started. So first of all, I need to install a few packages using npm. So let's create a new terminal. Let's move to our React tutorial, to this folder, and first of all we would like to install npm install. If you are using Mac, then you should write yarn. Okay, so npm install Axios. What is Axios? Axios is HTTP request and response library. Through this Axios we will be able to fetch the data from an API, update the data, and also delete a record using this Axios library. Later we will implement it. The bootstrap, which is used for the designing purpose. Okay, the bootstrap, and also JSON-Server. Through this JSON-Server we will create a fake server. Okay, we will create a fake server. We will deal with that. Okay, it means that we will fetch records from that server, we will add record, and we will update records using that fake server. And the React Autodom, which we have already installed that. So let's press now enter, and we will install all these packages. Yeah, the packages has installed. So after that, now let's remove all this unnecessary code. We will start our app. Delete this one, and also this one, and this one. So this one, delete them, and let's create a new folder inside this src by the name of components. Inside that we would like to, first of all, to display our records. Let's first, I will remove all these things from app.jsx. And also these things. Save it. So the first thing that we should do, that is to configure our JSON server. Okay, we have installed JSON server. So now to use the JSON server, what we will do, we will create a new file by the name of db.json. okay, inside our React app. So let's create a new file by the name of, for example, db.json, index.json, whatever name you would like to assign. So you can assign a name to that. After creating db.json file, so now we will do it means fetch records from this file. This is our server file. Okay, this is our server file. So first of all, we should write a few records inside it to fetch them and display them on the browser. So for that, I have written 2 records. Just come here. These are 2 records of the users. Let's copy them. This is the JSON format. Okay, in the server side we are storing as JSON. So we have these 2 records. So now we will fetch them from this server, and we will display them on the browser. So first of all, we should configure this server. So for that, we will run this server. Okay, so to run it, let's move to the server, to the terminal. In the terminal we will write JSON server, then hyphen -- watch, then the name of file db.json. After that, double hyphen and port. Let's assign a port number, for example 3030, and press enter. We paste with an error. It says the term JSON server is not recognized as the name of cd limit function. So let's write our command like this. Okay, we will add just npx at the start because we didn't install it globally. Let's press enter. So our server is running right now. Now let's move to this URL. See, these are the users that we pitched. This is JSON data. So after running our JSON server, now let's move and display the records from this JSON server. Okay, to pitch the records, so just come here to the src, and here in the to the components folder, inside it we will create home.jsx, and inside home.jsx let's write our RAFCE react arrow functional component export. After that, first of all, we will pitch record from this db.json file. Okay, let's come here first to the app.jsx, and we will import home inside app.jsx. Now let's use it. Just come here. Later we will use React outer DOM. Okay, now I will just use the home component. Just come here to the app.jsx. Everything is okay. Where is the error? Fail to resolve improve app.css. Okay, in app.jsx we don't have the css file. Let's save it. We displayed our home component right now. Now instead of this, we will display the records of this user. Just come here to the home.jsx, and inside it I will display all the records. For the designing purpose, I will use bootstrap. Okay, so let's import first of all bootstrap /dust/css/bootstrap.main.css. So first of all, we will use useEffect hook. As we discussed before in this tutorial, that useEffect hook is used to interact with outside world. Okay, like fetching the data and that we have discussed. Okay, let's use now useEffect hook that has imported automatically, and here and it has two properties. The first one is the callback function. Let's create that. In this callback function, we will implement that our logic how to fetch the data from this server db.json server. So for that we will use Axios library. As we when we were installing, we see that this is HTTP request and response library. So now let's import first of all Axios. Import Axios from Axios. After that, now we will use axios.get. Now we would like to fetch the data. So for fetching the records, we will use get method. So here inside this get method, we will write our URL. So let's now copy our URL. So this is our URL where we can get these records. Copy this URL and paste it here. After that, we will use .then okay method, and in this then method we will get the result from this function. Okay, we will get result or data. So let's print first of all the result on console.log result, and after that .catch, if there was any error we will get that error. Console.log the error on console, print that. Okay, whenever we run this get method, so it will move to this URL and it will fetch the records, and then it will be stored inside the result, and we will display the results on console. If there was any error, okay, for example there was error in the server side or in network error, so then it will generate an error, so we will print the error on the console. So now let's save it, and let's first of all move to our application. Here let's move to console. See, we just how these records which are pitched. Okay, and let's check now the data. Inside the data we have these two records. First of all name, email, and the second one. See, these are our records. So now we will get like result.data. So let's now store this result.data inside our variable. So for that we will use useState hook. As we discussed if you would like to create a state, so for that we are using useState hook. Okay, to track a data, to store a data. So let's write const. Here we will name it, for example, data or users, and set users a method which is used for updating the users variable is equal to useState. This is our state. Okay, and this is an array type because we have an array of users, so we will assign it array notation. Now let's store these records inside this users variable. So to store them, we will simply write like this: set users, we will call that method, and we will assign the result.data. So after storing the data inside this user's variable, so now we will use this user variable to display the records on the screen. So let's display records, and let's create a table inside this. We will display records in the table. Let's assign a class name table of Bootstrap, and after that we would like to have our head head. Okay, inside that we will print our records table row, and inside that table head. Okay, the header. First of all, we will display the name, and the second header will be email, and then we will display the image. At the last, we will just perform an action, for example, to update a record and delete a record action. This is our header. Now let's move to our table body. Inside that table row, but before the row we will display the records, okay, of the user. So for that we will use this user variable, and we will use map function as we have discussed before, and now we will use the map function to display the records. Let's use curly braces and users dot map function, and inside it a callback function, and we will get a user, and here we will now use table row, okay, because we would like to display the record of every user in a table row. And after that we would like to display a table data, and inside this first we will display the name user dot name. And also one thing else, that we should assign a unique key to the first element, okay, of map function. For example, to this table row we should assign a key. Okay, the key is user.id. id is unique with us. We will assign user.id. You can also, it will generate automatically an index for you, so you can assign index here also. We displayed the user.name, so now shift alt row down, and here we will display now the email. Then we will display the image. So for displaying the image we will use image, so let's write like table data, and inside that we will use image. The src with us is user.image alt. We can display it alt assign to the alt the name of user, like user.name. So we have displayed all the things, but at the last we would like to perform, we will create now two buttons, okay, for the action, one for update, the second one for delete. Okay, delete or update. Okay, I will assign a class name. So right now I will leave the class name. Okay, the second one is for delete. Let's save it, and now let's check it. See, this is the table header of our table. Okay, this is the header of our table, and we can see the data. So I think we didn't add a return, so we can as we discussed before, if we use curly braces here in the map function, then we should write return statement. Save it, and now let's check it. See, we have displayed all these records. So now I will use Bootstrap to design this image. Class name width should be 25 and height 25. So it displayed like this, but I will add some more properties of the Bootstrap. So I have added just this one class of Bootstrap, rounded circle, which will make the image circle, and also the property of image width and height. So it looks like this now. Okay, so this is our table. So let's add now a header on the top, where we will write the title of our project. So let's create one component by the name of header.jsx RAFCE, and inside this header we will just display, we can name it like h2 react, or we can name it CRUD app with REST API. Let's save it, and now let's import it on the top of our header. The header has imported automatically. See, it looks like this. So now I will add some bootstrap classes to this header also. Just come here to the header. I will add some bootstrap classes. So I have added bootstrap classes to the header, to the buttons, and also to the table. I will show you them all because it will take, this is the design, but we are implementing, we are it's the React code, so that will take. Okay, so let's come here first of all to the header. We have added just these classes, okay, these classes of the bootstrap, and come here to the home and the button. This is the classes for button, also these, and for the table I have added just this table success to the table head. And now let's create our implement our React router. Okay, so to implement React router, first of all we will import them. Import browser router, routes, and route from React router DOM. Let's use them now. Instead of this I will write browser router, and inside it we will define routes. Inside the routes we will define our route. The route has two attributes. The first one is the path. The first path is per home component, so that is just a slash, and the element is the home. I will define the home inside this. As we discussed in our course that we would like to display the header on the top of all components. Okay, we should display our header, so we should import that here. It will be on the top of all components. In every component the header is included. Let's check it now. See, again we are at the top, so we are the header is at the top, and we are at the home component. So now let's add a button, a link here on the top, so whenever we press that we should be able to create a new record. So let's come here to the home.jsx, and the top of a table we will create a link. Link should be imported from React router DOM, so let's import it. Yeah, that has automatically imported from React router DOM. Now let's use it. Link, close it, and to the path is we will move to create. Okay, to create a new record to this route, and inside it we will define create plus, okay, or add plus. It means to create a new record. And also let's add a bootstrap class name button. We will add the button class name. Okay, button, then button primary. Let's check it now. It is at the center, but we should move it to the left side or right side. We'll bring it to the left side. So the reason that this class, okay, bootstrap class, I will cut it and I will paste it on the table. Now let's check it. See, it is in the left side, and let's make it smaller. The button should be smaller. Button SM, and also we should have a difference between table and link. Margin bottom 2 or just 1. See, it looks like this. So now whenever we press this create, we should create a new component. Okay, we will move to create component. So let's create now, or create, first of all we will create this route. Okay, create route. Come here to the app.jsx, and we will create this route. The path is equal to with create, and here the element is equal to. So now we will create a component by the name of create. So in this component folder I will create create.jsx or AFCE, save it, and now let's import it. See, that has imported automatically. Let's check it now. whenever we press this create, so we came to the create component. So now here we will create a forum. Through that forum we will be able to add the records of the user or employee. So let's remove it, and we will create another div, and inside that we will create our forum. Inside forum, let's remove this action. In the forum we will create div, and inside div we will create a label first of all, and that is for name. Then we will create name. After that, in input field for text, name is equal to name, and same we will create two other divs. Paste it. This is for email, and let's change it, and also change it, and also another one for image URL. So this should be an input file, that should be file, okay. Type should be file, and that is image. Now let's create another button, submit, and this is button. So now let's add bootstrap classes, but before adding bootstrap classes, let's check it, okay, how it looks like. See, it looks like this. So now let's add bootstrap classes. First of all, I will add bootstrap classes to this div. I will pause the video, okay, for bootstrap classes. So I have added these bootstrap classes, these to the top div and these to the second one div, and forum control to input fields, and also I have added placeholder for the input fields, and we will change this to text because we would like to enter the image URL. So it looks like this, okay. See, this is for the button. So these are bootstrap classes which I have added. This is just design, okay. Now let's check it how it looks like, okay. It looks like this now. So now whenever we insert name, email, and also the image, so by pressing this submit button we should be able to create a new record. But before that, we should be able to write something in this input field. We should store them somewhere, okay. We will use useState hook for this, okay, to handle these input values. So let's create now useState hook const. We will write here a user set user is equal to useState hook. Before in the ReactJS tutorial we learned and we created separate variables, okay, like name and email that we have created before. But now I will create an object for all these three fields. I will write first of all name, the default value is an empty string, then the email, default value empty string, then image, default value is an empty string, and also the ID, okay. We need ID to insert ID with every record. So for the ID I will use a package. Later I will install that and I will show you how to generate a unique ID in ReactJS. So now let's, whenever we are writing something in these input fields, we should store them in this object, okay, in name, email, and object. So let's now do it. First of all, we will add onChange event in these input fields. Press enter. onChange event, and we will call a function handle input. We will call this function on these three input fields. So let's create handle change handle input function, const handle input is equal to, and also we will get the event here, and let's, yeah, that is okay, but we should create a row function. So now here we will update this object, okay. To update this object, for example, first of all we are writing inside the name input field, we should update just the name. Then we are writing for the email, then we should update just the email. Then for the image we should update just the email. So for that, let's do it, okay. So first of all I will call set user function method, and after that I will write the object, then the spread operator, okay. These three dots are spread operator. I will show you, okay. This spread operator means that to take all the previous values. Okay, it means that take all the previous values and just update this value. Okay, we will write here e.target.name and assign e.target.value. What it will do, this spread operator will just take all the previous values. Okay, the spread operator of the user. For example, we have entered name and email and we want to update the image, so it will take the name and email, then we will just update e.target.name. the name means that it will take this name, okay, that we have assigned name and name, email, and then the image. This name should be equal to these names. Okay, so when we are updating the image, so it will take that image, it means that it will write like this image. Okay, to image it will assign e.target.value. That is the same, and we wrote like this because just in one function we handled all three input fields changes. Okay, now whenever we are writing in input field name, so we will store the value inside name, then we are writing in the email, we will store in the email, then we are writing in the image, then we will store that inside the image. So let's generate a unique ID. So for that I will write ID. So first of all I will install a package. Okay, let's move to the terminal, and inside the terminal let's create a new one, and let's move to the React tutorial, and here I will install npm install uuid version 4. So this is the package which will help us to generate a unique ID in React.js. Yeah, the package has installed. So now let's import it. Import uuid, I think, as version 4. No, I will import it like this. Okay, v4 as uuid from version 4, like this. But I think this is just uuid, like this. Okay, now let's use this, and we will generate a unique ID like this. ID is equal to, we will assign call uuid method, so it will generate a unique ID and stored inside the ID. So we handle this data. Okay, so now whenever we press this submit button, we should post the data and store inside this server file. Okay, so for that let's create first of all on submit event. Just come here on submit. Whenever we submit, we will call handle submit method. So now let's create that. Const handle submit is equal to, we will get an event e.prevent.default. we have discussed it before. What does this prevent default mean? And now here we will use Axios library. Axios, the Axios has imported, see, and Axios.post. Now we will use the post method to post the data. Okay, when we are getting the data we will use get method, when we are posting the data we will use post method. And here we will write our URL. So let's copy our URL from browser. After copying the URL, paste it here, and inside this we will now write our data, comma, we will post our data. We will write the name of our object, which is a user. Okay, this object name, this is an object, we will pass data as an object. So we have passed as user is already an object type with us, so we have just stored the name of user. So after that we will get a result dot then. Let's console the result, what we get in the result. If there was any error, .catch, console the error to us. Let's check it now. Okay, let's try it, and what happened, let's move to our browser and just come here. And also one thing else, whenever we insert a new record, so after that we should be able to move back to our home page. So for that we are using use navigate hook, as we discussed in our React.js tutorial before. Use navigate, we have imported that from React.js, and now let's create an instance of that. Const navigate is equal to use navigate, we will call it, and now let's use it. If we successfully logged in, it means we created the record, so then we will use it. Navigate, and we will move back to our home route. Let's close this here. Let's save it. And also if you would like to display a message in alert, you can do that also, but I will leave it. Now let's write the name, for example Khalil, email, Gmail, and image URL. I will just copy an image, so just come here to the Wikipedia, or I have the URL of the image here. Let's copy this URL, Control C, paste it here, and let's press submit. See, we came directly to home page and we inserted this record successfully. See, a new record has successfully inserted. Before we had 2 records, so now let's check it in our server. Let's refresh it. See, the 3rd record has inserted. This is the unique ID which has generated. Those were ID which we were written them manually, but this is generated by the package. So now we performed our creation to create a new record. So now let's perform, whenever we press this update, we should be able to update this record. So for the updation, we need first of all to click this button. We should pass the ID of this record, and the second thing is that we will create the same forum like this. Okay, whenever we came to this forum, like we will create a forum like this, and in this forum we should have the previous data that we want to update. Okay, we should have the previous data. So now let's move it and perform this task. Let's first of all come here to the home.jsx and to the button, to the update button, to this button. Let's format our document. Yeah, our document has formatted. So whenever we press this update button, so let's change it to the link. Okay, link, and we will add 2 property is equal to, and we will move to /update or edit. Okay, whatever you write, update. Then we will pass our ID to this route. So to pass our ID, so for that we will write like this. We will use these curly braces, and also we'll change this quotation to this single quotation and $sign, and we will pass our ID now like this. Okay, we will write here user.id. So now let's create this route, update route. Just come here to the app.jsx and we will create it. Update / then we will get an ID and the element. Now let's create an element by the name of update .jsx. Let's write here like this, and let's import it inside app.jsx. Instead of create, I will write here update. Update has imported successfully, and now let's check it and try it. Okay, just come here and let's press the update. See, we came to the ID number 1 and we came to the update component. So now we will create the same forum as we created for creating a record. Then we will fetch the record and we will display them in those input fields. So for to create, let's come here to the update. The input field, I will copy the same code as we have created. Okay, I will copy just this input fields code. Okay, because we are creating the same forum. We are doing the same thing. Okay, but the only difference is, I will just copy the previous code also. This code I will copy, this code also. I will just show you the changes that we are making in this. Okay, let's copy this code also, because we are doing something the same. Whenever we write something in these input fields, we should store them somewhere. When we press the update button, we should change it to the update. We should update the record. Okay, we will call the this submit function, and we will just, instead of this, we will use put, and also we will pass our ID here. So first of all, yeah, we wrote just create. Now I will show you the difference. What we need to write, okay, to update this record. So first of all, I will just grab the ID from URL. Okay, the URL that we passed, for example this one, we will just take that. First of all, for that we will use forum hook. Const ID is equal to, let's write it, make a little bit difference. Const ID is equal to, let's write like this: id is equal to use from hook. Okay, from reactive to down, what it will do, it will take id from url. After taking the id, now we will use useEffect hook to fetch a record. useEffect hook, we will use create a callback function, and here I will use Axios is imported .get. We will use get function, and here we will write our URL like this. Okay, the same URL, but we will get a record based on id, paste, and here we will pass our id also, slash plus id. Okay, we will pass this id to this URL, and we will get record based on this id. Then we will get result, and then we will store the result inside our object. Okay, in this object, so we will call a function set user function, and we will store our data inside that result dot data dot catch. If there was any error, console log the error. Got it? Okay, first of all we just grab our id, then we fetch record based on that id. Okay, and then we store that record inside this variable, inside this object. And one thing else, that let's cut it, and I will paste it here, and instead of this generating unique id, I will assign id that I took from url. Okay, and we fetch record based on that, and we store that inside these object. Okay, now I will show the data of this object. Okay, so to show the data of that object, let's write something like, yeah, that is okay right now. Let's just write here the value. We will add value attribute to this input fields. Value is equal to with the our object. Okay, user dot name and email and image. User dot name, let's copy this, and we will do the same for email. Let's write here email, and also for the image. Let's check it now. Okay, let's come here to the browser, we paste within error. Let's move to the console. It says reference error, useState is not defined. Let's import useState. useState. Let's move here, and useNavigate is not defined. Let's import useNavigate. useNavigate. Yeah, that is okay, everything is okay. Okay, now we came to the update component, and we have the previous record that we want to update. Okay, let's move back to our home page, and here we want to just update this record. Okay, let's press update, crud@gmail.com, and this is the image that we want to update. Okay, got it? So first of all, we created this forum. Okay, then what we did, we fetch record based on this id. We grabbed the id from url using use forum hook, then we fetch a record using useEffect hook. useEffect hook will run at the start. Okay, let's add array dependency. It will just once whenever we run our component, so it will render at that time, at the first time. So after we fetch record, and we store the data inside these variable user. So after that we showed the data inside these input fields using value. Okay, it showed. Then we change the data. Okay, using unchange. Whenever we would like to update the data inside this input field, so we will call this handle input function, and we will update the data of this user state. Okay, after updating the data, we will press the update button. Whenever we press this update button, we will call this handle submit function, and inside that now we will update our record. So to update the record, we will use put method instead of before. For getting data we use get function of Axios. For posting we use post. For updating we will use put method, and also we will attach our id here, comma plus id. We attached our id with this URL, and after that we passed our user to this URL, and it will update our record. Let's check it. Okay, what happened now? Let's move to, I will change this Arif to Latif. Latif Khan. And also let's change the image. Okay, to change the image I will just take this image, copy this, instead of this I will paste it, and let's press update. See, the record is updating. Latif Khan at gmail.com, and the image has updated also. So this was all about to update a record in React.js. Okay, so now we will move to the deletion functionality. Okay, whenever we press this delete, we should be able to delete that record. So just come here to the home page, here to the delete function, delete button. Whenever we press this, we should be able to delete that record. So let's call on click event and handle delete, and we will pass our id to this function. Our id is user.id. Let's create it an arrow function. Whenever you are passing a data, so we should create a row function like this. Okay, now let's create that function. Const handle delete is equal to, here we will get an id. Now let's write const confirm is equal to window dot confirm do you want to delete. If confirm was okay, it means if he pressed yes, so then we will delete record. Okay, so to delete the record we will use Axios dot delete method right now. Okay, for the deletion, then we will pass our URL, copy the URL and paste it here. Then we will attach our id plus id dot, then we will get a result, and in the result we will just alert record deleted, and navigate. So let's use navigate. Okay, let's import use navigate, create an instance of that. Go back to the home page, dot catch if there was any error, console dot log the error. Let's try it now. So for example, we want to delete this user record. Let's press the delete. Do you want to delete the record? Okay, record deleted. Okay, see, the record has deleted successfully. Okay, so it was all about deletion functionality. No, for example, cancel, that has cancelled. So this is all about our React.js tutorial that we have explained all the topics, and we created the CRUD app. We performed all 4 operations with API, how to use Axios library and React Autodom and other React features. I hope this video was helpful for you. I might be something missed from me, or my English mistakes or something else became wrong, so I'm sorry for that. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, and thanks for watching.